So, hey, everybody, it's July 25th, Coach to Influence with my man, Matthew Baston. We'll just let that lead you in a little bit.
This is awesome.
Let me see. I will not skateboard in the halls. That was a pretty lame one.
I could never skateboard. My favorite one, I think. Oh, you put me on the spot now. What was my favorite one? There was a very, very good one. I will not pee in the. What are the big things called? I will not pee in the lunch pot. That was my favorite one.
There were so many of them, man. I have lost track. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get my boy into The Simpsons the same way he is with like Bob's Burgers or Family Guy, but there are lines to this day. My favorite line I ever heard on The Simpsons was, "I am not as smart as I look, sound, or best testings have indicated."
And I think the one that I always fall back on is trying is the first step towards failure.
What was that?
Trying is the first step towards failure. One of Homer's first ones.
Is that what you tell SDRs on their first day?
Yes, that's expectation management.
Nice, nice. So I can't thank you enough for coming on to join today. You want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and why I had the audacity to throw The Simpsons on? Maybe there's somebody in this audience that can help. So let them know the struggle and that the struggle is real.
Yeah, I guess you'll have to tell me why you decided to have me on as well.
I'll say
But
that in a moment. Well,
yeah,
I'll start with why I had you on.
all right.
I have worked with great SDR leaders, sales leaders, be it AEs, Es, BDRs, all the acronyms in between. And I love to sit down with great sales leaders that are doing all of the right things right. Anybody that knows Matthew, that follows his content. Yes, the guy wants to be on The Simpsons like tomorrow's going out of style. But what you don't see are young guys and the impact that he's had on their lives, all in a positive way. Who was it? Oh, there was a kid just yesterday.
George.
George.
Yeah,
Just to hear a young kid talk about the moment they believe. So you're bringing your Simpsons. I'm bringing my Ted Lasso. Belief is king.
and confidence it plays a huge part in this. You can have all the skill in the world, but if you don't believe you have it, it's not worth much. But yeah, I guess on my side, so I'm based in Canada now, in Toronto. Didn't start here, started in Ireland, obviously, but
Can't tell.
got into tech space when I got here, and the main goal was, hey, I wanted to be an AE, I wanted to be an enterprise AE, I wanted to be closing big figure deals. Started what everyone else starts, SDR and BDR. Kind of went up, did the team lead, helping the other reps on that. Finally got my AE role, finally got my big AE role, and I was a bit disappointed. I wanted to go back to that middle world where I was like helping BDRs and SDRs move on up. So that was when I started looking at those kind of things. And I think that's like one of my big motivators. I have a doc that I keep that every SDR or BDR that's ever been promoted under me is on that doc and the position that they've gotten to. So yeah, my big motivator is not just making people good SDRs and BDRs, but I want to make them good sales professionals. I want them to surpass me. I want them to be those awesome enterprise AEs that I didn't want to end up being.
That's why you're on the show. That's why we're talking today. And I love that you just used that line because I have told sales reps for years, if I'm doing my job right, I will work for you one day.
Yeah, that's a very good way of putting it. I'm going to steal that one. That's my new way.
So what made you want to be a Simpsons character?
A misspent youth, years and years of watching The Simpsons. Not a misspent, a wasted youth, we'll say. It was funny. I can't remember his name now, but somebody was posting on LinkedIn a while ago that they said they would do a sponsored post for someone if they sent them to an NBA game or something like that. I can't remember what it was, and it worked. And I was like, oh, is this how it works? You just put out that you want this to happen,
Like something pretty please.
and maybe it'll work. So it hasn't worked for me yet.
Me
But
neither, man.
I will continue to do it, and one day Matt Groening will come across my LinkedIn page, and he will go, "Look, we should have had this guy on years ago."
Where have we been? You know what? You've probably been on already. They just haven't foreshadowed it.
There you go. I try to keep my Simpson avatars like this, very generic, so they can just pick me up and drop me in.
Then that's probably be the note that you get. Matt, we regret to inform you that you have been on the show 7 times since 1989. You had a recurring theme for 4 episodes, don't you remember?
Still waiting on the check.
Oh yeah, the check's never coming. So, does the Simpson theme, is that your like pump up song before a big pitch or a demo? Do you have something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't Simpsons. I think if I had to pick a Simpsons song to do it, I'd go with the monorail. Monorail is just a nice get everyone moving. But no, if I was going with like any song to get me before a power hour or something like that, I'd have two in the back of my mind. Bob Marley, Three Little Birds. If I'm feeling a bit nervous, I think that puts put you at a calm sense. But 50 Cent, Many Men would be the one that would, if I wanted to get myself psyched up, that's the one before I pick up the phone and really want to grind.
Nice, nice. I'm old school. I used to do um Eminem, that famous song from 8 Mile.
Oh, lose yourself. It's a good one.
Eye of the Tiger used to work back in the day. And then anything by AC.
Yes, my kid, my 3-year-old, I can't remember what song he asked for, but Alexa played Back in Black, and now he is obsessed with Back in Black. He thinks it's the best song in the world.
So now we know the things that get you all energized up. What's your biggest sales pet peeve?
Pet
Either
peeve.
ready or
Oh,
watching the team get ready. What are the things they do that you look at them and you're like, I cannot believe this?
I think the easiest one, like the cliche one, is that anytime I see an email that like hope it finds you well, like it does. But I think a phrase that gets me is just touching base. Touching base is just I don't know what it is about the term. I remember doing a sales training at a company called Soft Choice, and I can't remember who said it, but the phrase has just stuck with me. He said, "Anyone who says touching base is a dirty base toucher." Every interaction, even if it's a bump email, if it's something that's like you need to be able to provide some sort of value, and touching base provides no value.
Yeah, you should use checking in instead. It's far more effective.
I think it's just that phrase that pinned with that has become just like I don't like it when I hear people say it on a call or in an email. Just it irks me.
I used to have fun with it, especially now that I sell to sellers. I'll always use the, hey, I'm just checking in to touch base with you.
Putting them all together.
I thought you trade sellers for a living. What are you doing here? Oh, no. So how do you correct for that? How do you correct when you see kids that are just ingrained in doing the wrong things wrong?
There's a really good book by Dave Premier, the Sell the Way You Buy. So like my first question is always that like, would you respond to this email? Like if someone sent you this, is this something, if you ask someone this question, what would your answer be? Or someone asks you this question, what would your answer be? And most of the times they very quickly get that maybe this isn't the best step to take. I don't think there is a silver bullet. I'm definitely not the kind of person who'd be like, hey, do it my way. This is my talk track or this is my email and do it this way. So I want people to find their words, but I think people who use things like hope finds you well, touching base, and whatever it is, they're using someone else's words from 20 years ago. They've become sales repellent these days.
Yeah, it's just an empty line. And listen, I remember when it worked. I
Yeah,
know I'm dating myself, but mine used to be, hope everything's okay on your side of the screen.
yeah. I mean, those things. It's funny because they all work when they're pattern disruptors at the start.
Yeah.
But once
Now it's the
it
pattern.
kind of exactly once it gets flagged as like, hey, use this pattern disruptor, it's now the pattern. Like if everyone's using it, it becomes the norm, and now you need the next person to break that up.
So as you talk about that, I'm curious, as a leader, two questions. You can answer them any which one you want first. Best piece of advice you ever gave, best piece you ever received.
Um, I'll start with receive first. My first like sales, like it wasn't even sales, it was retail sales. I was selling in Vodafone back in Ireland, like telecommunications, basically mobile phones, that kind of stuff. Um, they had just released home broadband, and that was the big driver that they were going for. We were told every conversation we're having, ask them what they're doing for their home broadband, and I was good at selling mobiles. I was good at like always hitting my quotas, always doing this kind of stuff. But the home phone, I couldn't handle the insane amount of rejection because very few people had a home phone anymore. So I was like, this is a pointless question. I was sitting in the staff room in the back, just hands in my face, and Eddie Royce, my manager at the time, sat down. I'm sure he doesn't even remember this, but he asked me what was going on, gave him the quick rundown, and he was like, how many no's does it take to, I'll change the wording, but mess up your day? And I was like, a lot. Like, how many times have I heard it today? A lot of times. He was like, if you go out there and how many do you have to go out there and sell to like make this a good day? It's like one. And it changed the perspective I had on handling no's, on handling that rejection side. Whereas like we make in this job now 50 to 100 dials a day.
Just
If you're
takes one.
lucky, you're probably looking at 15 to 20 connects on that, and that's on a very, very good day. So you are getting at the max end 20 no's. It takes
Yeah.
one yes to make that day a phenomenal day.
Knows what knows. Nobody said no. I got one yes.
Exactly. We did a funny thing at Mentimeter before, like my previous company. We actually used to run no power hours. So like it was, you'd get points or whatever it is for hard no's. And what we figured out was it's actually very, very hard to get a hard no. We get lots of, now's not a good time, call me back later. Very few people will say like, no, never call me again. Best advice I feel I've given, I
The day
think
you
it's,
saw your boss's thing and said
yeah,
everything you said to some
yeah.
SDR.
I think in this job, so specifically for like SDRs and BDRs, it's separate yourself from the outcome. Like that's like whether it's a good outcome or a bad outcome, like live in the middle. Like celebrate the wins for sure, learn from the losses for sure, but don't get too big on yourself and don't go too hard on yourself. You can control your processes, you can control your frameworks, you can't control what that person does on the phone. I think a lot of people go in with the perspective of a good call is a call that I book, and that's not the case. You could have a textbook perfect call and get a no, or you could come in and be like run a terrible call and say awful things, and you just caught them at the right time and they agree to it. So living in the middle, being like confident enough in your ability to have a conversation and not worrying about whether the conversation happened or not is pretty solid advice, I believe.
I think so. What would you tell an SDR today that you wish you'd been told on your first day?
Two different ones there again. So I guess one would be I wish that I had started building a network a little bit sooner. So not necessarily role specific, but way earlier in my career, I wish I got a little bit more active on LinkedIn or started going to networking events purely because
You
we
are
were in.
way too. I'm looking at your stuff right now. You are way too humble, but please continue.
We're in a volatile industry, and I remember the first time we had a layoff, and I knew no one outside my company. I had no connections. I knew no one to get me into that next role. I knew no one to like give me advice on where to even look for that. So I think like outside of your role, like focus on a network. Having a network is never a bad thing. Whether you use it or not, it's there if you need it. But I guess for in role, the power of the phone. I think at the time I was coming up, everyone was trying to get away from the phone. Social selling was the big buzzword at the time. Everyone was leaning on like Vidyard and video tools, which are all great, but none of that replaces the
Conversation.
phone. The phone is the fastest way to get to a yes or a no, and that's what you want. It's not that you need a yes, you need an answer. And the phone, you can't get context from an email.
It's funny you say that because the phone is the constant throughout the seller's career. And a lot of them don't realize that,
Yeah.
especially the ones that can lean on social selling to fill up a calendar as an SDR. Because those are the ones when it's time to, hey, you can't
Flip.
LinkedIn, you can't digitize the conversation you need to have.
Yeah. I won't name the company or the rep, but she was a really, really good rep. Booked everything through email. Very good at email writing. Always hit quota. When she interviewed for AE roles, it always collapsed because she didn't know how to handle objections in real time. She was very good at taking the time and crafting things and being able to do that. But once she was on the spot and like in the hot seat, she would kind of lose her footing. So, like you were saying, if you want to develop in that career, you need to be able to be comfortable with an uncomfortable conversation. You need to be able to move on your feet.
Yeah, you'd be surprised today how many people don't do it.
Mm.
Listen, I'm making a living off of it with AI-enabled sales coaching. You've seen the tool, so you can see the benefit of it. But what I find fascinating is you were talking about, sell like you buy. And I was dealing with a team. I said, why don't you talk to them like you would your friends? And a young kid made a very telling point. He's like, I don't call my friends.
Yeah.
Long industry, my man. You better learn conversations fast because no amount of AI, technology, or a tech stack is going to replace a conversation. At least not yet. Can me get me interested enough to have a conversation with you? Yeah. Is it smart enough for it to take me on that journey of life as it is? Is life as it can be? I mean, you guys are doing legal tech, right?
Yeah.
But lawyers going down that journey with an AI bot.
Yeah, I mean, I think AI is becoming a bigger topic in that process, but again, it's very much they want it for, research. They want it to be able to check precedents and things like that. I like, especially in the legal space, AI is still a very, scary thing because you're dealing with lots of laws, and AI is still a gray area for a lot of those areas.
Yeah, good point. Especially in the legal space, if there's no law around it, I doubt they want to be touching it. Or if there's no
That's
law
yeah.
around it, they're probably the exact opposite. Let's got some handcuffs on. Telling us it's not us.
Yeah, we don't want to be the first ones.
So technology has changed. You've gone from no tech stacks to AI. What are some of the constants for you? The things that haven't changed. I know we poked around conversations, but what else you think is universal and stands the test of time?
It's like you said, the phone, but the phone's the conduit. I don't think AI will ever fully replace salespeople because, like you said, conversation is king in this kind of stuff. So I think that'll never go away. There are tools that won't ever leave, but will evolve. Things like I don't think any modern sales team will. Yeah, this is exactly what you were saying. You'll always have a rep, and that rep will always start somewhere, and that rep will need to level up in whatever the role that is. Now that will change. Maybe we won't be writing emails in 5 years from now. Maybe we won't be needing to do data enrichment, but whatever that role is, they will need to be coached in that role. And that
Tell
is the
me more.
part that is the part that even now, when we have a lot to do, often gets put on the back burner. Frontline managers spend a lot of times like having to put out fires. So when a fire is going on, it's like what can be pushed today? And unfortunately, for most, and in
The
myself included,
one-on-one, which means the
yeah,
coaching, which means the reps and the digging into it, or the
yeah.
listening to Zoom calls.
Or it's not. It's sometimes like what irks me, and I still do this all the time, and it annoys me so much, is that you spend so much of your time helping the bottom half of your team catch up with the top half of your team, that you don't spend enough time with the top half of your team making them the next, like the best they could possibly be. It's kind of like, yeah, they're good. They don't need me today. Where that's never true. There's always
And when the
something
fires
we can get
start,
better at.
those are the ones you're gonna like, okay, this guy doesn't need my help. If I'm gonna have a
Yeah,
conversation with anybody, it's gonna be Billy at 22 instead of Timmy at 122.
yeah. So I don't think there's anything that like will not change. The whole industry will change, but I think those are the things that's the stuff that I'm hoping, and I'll plug for Dexco here, that
Oh, please
that
do tell.
that will help alleviate, not take it away, but help streamline that stuff, so it makes that coaching easier. That it doesn't have to be a thing that I like have to drop because I've got these 20 other things to do. I don't have time to listen to 10 Zoom calls today.
No.
I can go into this.
And I think we had conversations around that because that's exactly what the tool does. It's
Mm,
listen to those conversations. It's structured that training. So you're just sliding in to make sure T's are crossed and I's are dotted. And by that, I just mean what 15, 20% of your coaching and one-on-ones are now. Reinforcement.
yeah.
I mean, Lord knows I love not having to spend 15 hours on one rep putting a curriculum together nowadays and then having to sit there and like you kids are lucky. Even you with a few grays there, Simpsons, you're lucky. And I say that because when I was first leading sales teams, more than 10, 15, enterprise level, you had to hope you were on the right call where you heard the wrong thing and then could build a curriculum from scratch, which required read this book, look at this video. Here's a VHS. If anybody doesn't know what a VHS is, it was an iPad that you had to put into another iPad to have it regurgitate beta back at you. And then you had to spend months reinforcing it on a weekly basis. And, there are enough times in my career where I was off the mark. This was not the issue. And
Yeah.
I've spent 2 months training on something he didn't need my help with, and he's still 5 times worse on the thing that he did need my help on.
Yeah.
I'm happy that
So I guess
you now have dashboards and it's all done nice and easy for you.
question I have for you on that is, when you feel you have a rep that needs that leveling up, how do you get them bought into the area that you feel they need improvement?
Money and greed. And the fact that you don't want to be an SDR together. Easy
Mm,
when they're SDRs, because the last thing you want to be is an SDR. But I'm sure you're doing this too, is reminding them of the fact that as an AE, no one's handing you an SDR. You're
Yeah.
gonna have to go out and do the work. You're gonna have to show that you're worthy and have earned an SDR. So an AE's first role should be doing that. To
One of
me, it
the
always goes back to the covenant I made with the rep when they started. That commitment of, you want this, I need that. You do this, I'll do this in return. So we got to put egos aside. And Dextego stands for that. It's a mix between dexterity and ego. Put your
yeah.
ego aside, realize that everybody needs coaching, apply what you're learning, and let the issue disappear. Because then you can grow and learn the next issue. Because any rep who tells you I've got it all down and I don't need this help anymore is blowing smoke up your ear.
Yeah. They wouldn't be an SDR if that was
Yeah, most of them are currently influencing our SDRs on LinkedIn with the here are my 3 simple steps to becoming an AE in 95 minutes.
just comment
And
go tool and we'll
I
send it
wish
over.
there was a tool for that. There's no
Yeah.
shortcuts. And as a good sales leader, I'm sure you'd agree in the fact that going back to that covenant sometimes is all you need to do. You're the
Yeah.
one who told me you want to be a VP of sales in 6 years. I told you I can do it in 4, but here's what I need from you. And one of those, if you recall, was an open mind, was the humility to learn, was to shut your mouth and appreciate that I know more than you do, even though I've forgotten more about sales than you've learned of.
Yeah, it's funny you said that because one of the SDRs that in my first management role, he's an AE now, doing very, very well. Benny Freeman, came in no sales experience but had relevant experience in the industry. And I remember in conversation, I was chatting with him. He had said that the or the BDR role at the time was what he described as a transient role. Nobody gets in to be a BDR, and he was like, "I'm willing," and he did. He outworked everyone. He more hours on the clock a day than he probably should have. But he was like, if I want to get out of this role, and I need to prove I'm the best of this role. How I prove I'm the best of this role is
See,
by
his name was Benny?
Benny Friedman.
Benny Friedman. You send me that link. We'll do a nice shout
I
out to
will.
Benny.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'll do that.
This is what separates pros from pretenders. I love SDR energy, man. I'm going to do this. I want to be this. Some of them talk a good game. They never follow through. They find themselves at 6 months wanting to discuss being an account manager or in customer success. Not that those are bad things, but they realize that sales not for them. And then there's just that SDR chase your own tail energy of give me this book, show me this thing, hand me the podcast. Where can I go? Gimme. And those are the ones that, like I said earlier, I'm going to work for you one day. You're going to come into
Yeah.
my office as a VP of sales. And we're going to talk through what I need to do to make your vision into reality, just like we're talking now how to make my vision reality.
Yeah, I love it. There is nothing better when you have that that dog with a bone mentality. That
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the only way to get it done. And talk about universal constants in sales. That always works with teams. Bring them back to that agreement, that first day. You do this for me, I'll do this for you. That's how you get coaching to stick. And you had touched on something earlier about what do you do with the reps that don't need the help? They're your coaches now.
Yeah,
You want to be
very
an
good point.
AE. Didn't you just say you want to be an AE and one day you want to be a VP of sales? Like, here's on-the-job training. I'm going to have you sit with this individual because something you're very good at, they are horrible at. But if you're smart, they have things to teach you also. So when
Yeah, I think
meet that,
we do at Clio we do a really good mentorship program for that as
nice.
well, and we actually have like again I'll shout out two of my current reps in a minute. Back at the start of the year, one of our reps Luis was pushing for promotion, took
Luis's
on
last name?
Mendez.
Mendez.
Yeah, and he took on one of our reps, Kinder Gill. Skinner was doing well, but like had there was a not a gap, but he could have been doing better. Couple of months with Luis. Luis is now on his way into his next role, and Sukinder is now stepping into that like top performer role, and he has just become the mentor for our newest hire. So
Nice.
it is that never-ending circle that we love.
You want to mess with their heads. You want to see if they have EQ. Here's what I used to tell these guys as part of mentor programs. Yes, you're here to help because of the things you've accomplished. But our next meeting, I don't want to discuss the things you taught him. I want to discuss what you learned.
Nice.
Try that on them because now you have them thinking like a leader. To me, to the SDRs I used to work with, to get them in the right mindset, I always used to just badger into their brains, be the CEO of your own role.
Yeah.
You need to own the role. You need to understand the strategy. You need to own the tactics. You need to own the role. Part of that ownership are questions like that stop them. Another trick, and this is just purely cruel sometimes, when you ask them to do something or put a report together, reply the first time, a great report, I deleted it without reading it. Why don't you come back and give me a better version?
I don't know if I do that to them.
What?
We have a very good
Here's what I
enablement
would do.
team that would.
I always used to do this to them. You could do better than this. Come back
Yeah.
tomorrow. You could do better than that. Come back tomorrow. Because I didn't want to read the first two versions. Because the first two versions always meant there was a little something I had to do. But when you pose it to them like that, do you really think this is the best you can do? So I used to ask that question. Here's what you get. Do you really think this is the best you can do? Yes. Okay. Expand. No, I could do better. Give me till tomorrow. Some of the kids learned real easy that I would just always ask that question until they said, no, this is the best I could do. This is what I got. Let's go through this. Some kids would do 6 or 7 iterations of it before they realized I was just messing with their heads.
See, we have a very good ops team. So I'm pretty sure if I ask them to make a report, they'll just go straight to ops. Be like, he's asked me for this. Let's get it going.
Well, next time you ask them to do anything and they've got to deliver, mess with their heads a little bit. Some of the psychological warfare, we deserve it for all the nonsense they put us through. Because we're coach, we're the motivator, we're there to inspire them, we're there to have them cry on our shoulders. We're gonna have some fun.
I think that's probably the biggest part of going into like a leadership position that they don't tell you about beforehand, is that like you do become a part-time therapist. Like I feel I've clocked a few hours. If I ever want to step out of the sales game, I'm pretty sure I have like a therapist career in the future.
Oh, listen, I can use all the help I can get. I'm selling for the first time in a minute, so I will call you and I can use all the therapy that I can get. Matthew, this was absolutely awesome chat today. There was one thing you wanted to tell SDRs on your team or out there that are struggling right now. What's one last piece of advice from the Simpsons of sales? Can I call you the Montgomery Burns? I don't want to call you the Homer Simpson of SDR leaders because, I mean, that's just 7 insults at one.
I'll take Burns.
McClure?
I'll take Burns. Which one?
TJ McClure?
Oh, Troy McClure. Yeah, I'll take Troy.
Troy McClure sales. There you go. That's why you're not getting them to invite you on. What you need to do, my man. Here's my advice to one SDR leader, and then you could give your advice to SDRs everywhere. Every day, new spin on an existing Simpsons character.
I had a couple of them, but yeah, they take extra time to build. For any advice going into an SDR or BDR role, I guess I'll give out one for people looking to break in, because I know there is a lot of people trying to break in. The bar is not high for people hiring at the minute. It's more a quantity problem. It's like so many reps coming in. Show that you can do the job. Like, get the numbers out there. Don't like seeing a job posting and saying I'm interested is the bare minimum, and that will tell us.
You're not getting looked at that. If you're looking for, I'm just going to add to that for a second. Because if you're looking for a sales role and you're not treating the process like a sale, then you've missed you've just missed it. You've missed the train. You're never going to be good at it. Because sales reps come into my calendar all the time. Can you help me find a job? Yeah, I'm going to help you with the strategy. You know how to prospect. You know how to multi-thread. You know how to close. You know how to share collateral. You know how to build content. Same applies here. If you're not willing to do any of that, nobody's going to hire you in this market. And that's the only positive that I'll take from this market right now. It is forcing sellers to be the best version of themselves. Yeah, you got to stand out. And if you're not, there's somebody that wants to be the CEO, that's willing to make the investment, that's going to sit through the coaching, that's going to sit through listening to Matthew pontificate until his mouth runs dry. And they're going to take those things and do things with it. And one day they're going to be on this podcast saying all the great things that they've learned from Matthew. Because, man, you come correct every day. I tip my cap to you. Well, I wish you and I could be doing business with each other. I'm just super grateful that I get great SDR leaders like you in my network, because I know that you're passing the baton on properly. Every no brings you closer to a yes. Sounds like a cliche, but it's true.
It is cliche for a reason. Yeah.
Matthew, can't thank you enough for being a guest today. Kudos to your team. You want to do a little shout outs to guys? Maybe we'll do some posts for them next week. Let's call out the winners.
We are the best.
Ask about you, he'll bring it up on your one-on-one next week.
We are the best SDR team and the most attractive SDR team in Clio's. We are very, very good.
Is that because everybody's got a Simpson avatar?
No, they should go. I actually haven't done that for them. I don't. They're a lot younger. They don't get the Simpsons just yet.
Good thing you didn't. Good thing you're not the Fred Flintstone of SDR leaders.
There you
Then.
go. Yeah, that's you,
Really
Joe.
awesome. Matthew, great chat today, man. This has been an absolute thrill. If you're an SDR and you're looking to make a name for yourself, I'm sure Matthew will share time and is happy to chat with you.